One Kenobi here, only one. I hope I've not left it too late to film today because the sun is setting out there, but welcome to another episode of Top to Flop, where we start on the best and we go down to the worst of a character. And today, it's God, I swear to God I nearly said Chewbacca then. It's C-3PO, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're starting with. It is the best. C-3PO, it is the, whatever you want to call it, the Endor deity. Comes with this, but pray silence, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Boom. That is the best C-3PO in 3 3/4 inch, and it articulates down here. He's got hinge knees. The one behind him, we'll talk about him in a minute, but I used to think that was the best, but this is the one. And you wouldn't think it in the packaging because he obviously comes with a chair that you can sit him in that, and you'd think it wouldn't be a decent 3PO. Trust me, it is. If you get this figure and get him loose and you put him against all your others, you'll be hard pushed to find a better one. And look at him. He's vac metalized. Absolute bonus. Which if you had the vac metal original 80s 3PO, this will be right up your street. But what a fantastic sculpt of 3PO. Brilliant. And articulation wise, he does all really that 3PO needs to do. Because, you know, he's a bit sort of rigid, isn't he? He's a bit sort of, he's not the most mobile kind of character. So that is that. This one here is the Revenge of the Sith. This is a fantastic figure, by the way. It really is an awesome figure. And until I got hold of this one, this was my favorite. Because again, it's that vac metal pull, if you want to call it. The appeal of the vac metal definitely appeals to me. This one I opened mint off card. I got it for a real bargain, this as well. Look at it. It came in the Revenge of the Sith packaging. And if you are a fan of C-3PO, you know that when Revenge of the Sith came around, episode 3 in 2005, there was a couple of TV spots, or what did they used to call those little documentaries? Featurettes. And one of them was called 3PO, His Time to Shine. Because of all the journeys that 3PO has been through, it was Revenge of the Sith where you saw him finally in his realm, in his domain, you know, doing what he should do, just in a lovely, opulent setting, doing protocol, etiquette, running around for Padme, whatever. But that's a great one. But sadly, the face is very different. I hope it's showing. He's kind of got a narrower, it seems like he's got a more narrow face, or has he got a longer neck? Something looks different to me. I think, yeah, he has got a longer neck. Can you push that down a bit? No, you can't. His neck comes out a lot more than this one. Maybe they are the same head sculpt. I always thought they were different, but actually I've just realised, putting them side by side, the neck of this one goes up a little bit taller, so he looks a little bit more gawky. But, and he looks a lighter gold. Again, when you put him side by side with this Saga Collection one, this guy, it makes him look a lot lighter. But let's move on. In third place, moving back down in order of which I think are the best. It's funny, I've only just got hold of this figure, but because I loved it as a kid, and again, it's that vac metal appeal, I put this one, the classic, in number 3. I'll be honest with you, that it's quite funny that I've put him in third place. There are figures behind him that actually have way better, more 3PO-esque faces than this guy, but just because of the fact he shines, and don't think I'm biased on vac metal, third from the last is a vac metal figure, but it's just so awful that it's, you know, I'm not going to show you what it is yet. He's right there. I want to keep him out of focus, keep the mystique. Right there is a vac metal one, but nowhere near as good as these ones. But anyway, that's a tip of the hat to the classic. I'm moving into the next phase. Amazingly, I've put this one as next because it has, as far as I can see, this has all the same, well, it seems like the same mold that you got in the TVC when you got the VC Boom. And that was a very articulated 3PO, but this is a really good one for Attack of the Clones. And a lot of people said to me about this series, top to flop, they said, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to, like, for example, with Obi-Wan? I don't think I'll be doing Obi-Wan, really, because you've got different types of Obi-Wan, played by 2 different actors, for example. But with 3PO, I'm going to keep it all for 3PO, because number one, you're not going to get many figures of him as he appears in Attack of the Clones, so I couldn't do a best-of for that. So, because 3PO is just the same, pretty much, except for the external skin and stuff. I could do him all in one, but for example, there's the other characters I couldn't do I'd have to split them into 2 separate episodes. For example, I've got a good example for you. Luke Skywalker, for example. I'd have to do an episode for Tatooine Luke, and then one for Bespin and one for Jedi Luke. You know what I'm saying? But for 3PO, I can do them all in one. I hope you've understood that waffle, but here's my next choice. Has to be followed by this one. I love this figure. It's very, very nice. We need to get to the bottom of the scaling of this. I assume Hasbro have done their research and he is scaled correctly, but this is a very small figure. If you put him next to the first place, are they the same kind of height? I don't know, not a million miles away. This one's just very skinny, but that might be correct. Anthony Daniels was only dainty. But this is a wonderful figure in terms of the articulation. Love it. You can take his chest armor off and you can see what he would look like, say, in Phantom Menace, which is very clever. That's a TVC thing because they're going to give you, in TVC, a broad spectrum of a character because they belong to that history as well as, say, the original trilogy. They go back, so you can see elements of that history. And then if you take the armor plating off. But it's a great figure, that. And I doubt they would be able to vac metal him because it's a complicated process, even though this one here, let's go back to first place, 3PO, you can hinge it there. From what I understand, the process is complicated and it's a certain type of plastic they use, which is quite brittle, or I don't know, I'm making it up as I go along, but I used to fantasize about them vac metalizing a fully articulated 3PO, and I understand it might not be easy to do. So what they should do is get a really super shiny paint and redo this guy or something like that for TVC to get him on a Star Wars card. But that is him. Let's move on. These two now coming up are both vac metal, and I've got them in this order. My favorite one of the two is this one. This came with the cinema scene droid sale, and there's not much in it really. They are pretty much the same figure, just painted differently, and they have, it's almost like it's vac metal, but they have been aged or weathered as well. This one has got the edge on that one. There's nothing in it really, but he's got, like, look at the dirt on him. That's pre-oil bath. So he's got like splodges of oil coming off his. He's got the, whoa, stand up with your 3PO. Yeah, he's got his, what do you call it now? Restraining bolt on him there. And I'll be honest, I don't really like this one because his eyes look all black, and they've gone over the top with the painting of his eyes, so that's not very accurate to the film. But I just quite like this one because the weathering is intriguing, and he just looks that little bit dirtier than this fella. Now this one was cinema. Oh yay! Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. So that was the cinema scene, the droid sale with the Uncle Owen figure and the Luke figure. And this one, I think was Power of the Jedi, and it is a very good callback to the original 3PO that came with the Chewbacca vinyl pouch, because I think this one came with a net. I think it's removable limbs as well. But I tell you something, actually, speaking of which, speaking of faces, this guy, let me go and get TC14. Yeah, speaking of moulds, this is TC14, who is not C-3PO, so I won't be involving her in this, but look at the face of that. That's got to be the same mould. It is. I get paranoid now about what I say, because some people jump on it. I don't like getting things wrong. But, yeah, so that's TC14. Look at that 3PO there. Same mould, same kind of era. This was 1999 to 2000. This was 2000 to 2001. I believe this was Power of the Jedi. I think it was. Yeah, so that's that. But they're great figures, very quirky. I like the weathering. That's why they are higher up than our next candidates. Next candidate is this one. I've only kind of recently opened this. It reminds me in dullness of this TVC 3PO. It's kind of nice in a way, but 3PO, how he looked in the Clone Wars, is good for your Clone Wars shelf, but it's not my favourite really, but it's interesting. You've got to have this if you've got a Dave Filoni shelf, which I do. And I've got a R2 now to go with this 3PO. Oh, look, I knew his eyes were glowing before. I held him to the window before. Look at that. He's got a sunroof. That's nice, that. It's behind the back of his head. I thought I was going mad. I thought he had something silvery on his eyes that were making them glow. But no, he has got a sunroof thing behind his head. I'm having trouble here, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, got you. Yeah, he's got ball joints in the toe of his foot, so that was a bit tricky. Next up is this one. Now, though he shines, I do not like the facial sculpt of this one. I mean, look at that. That is not the same head sculpt that you got with this one. That one's a much bigger head, as it should be. That's a really tiny P head. This is the Power of the Force 2. I got this one loose in a job lot. I think I bought loads of stuff. I got a really good deal. I got like a snow speeder and an X-Wing, a Tonka X-Wing, and loads of loose figures, including this. So I kept hold of it. I sold all the others, I think. But yeah, I actually have him on my shelf facing away like that, looking down at an R2 figure, because I can't have him facing the other way. It just makes me cringe, man. I mean, I'm sure that was good once upon a time, but not when you've seen bigger, better heads than that. I mean, the head would be all right if the body wasn't so bulky, you know what I mean? He looks like somebody who's been down the gym and he's got a P head and his body's getting bigger. You know what I mean? So no. So that's why that's so low down the list. Next up, I'm really sorry to put him here, but this figure, it's nice to look at, but I didn't really like Threepio in Phantom Menace anyway, really. It's way too quirky and Doctor Who-ish with that little thing spinning in his brain. Yeah, George, I mean, you could have just had R2-D2 in Phantom Menace, in my opinion. You didn't have to have both of them together, because that made sense. R2, you know, being a protocol droid coming from the Boo, you saw where he came from. And then, you know, Revenge of the Sith, you saw where he came from, kind of. But having them both together and also having bloody Anakin Skywalker building him. I'm sure it was quite a good idea, George, to show the creation of Darth Vader, being the creator, in fact, the maker. You know, it's actually Anakin Skywalker, you know, epitome of evil. You know, I'm sure that was a nice idea, George, but whatever. But that's a figure that would be awesome. Imagine if they did that like they did IG-11 and IG-88 with loads of intricate kind of... That could be like an awesome super articulated figure, that, couldn't it? If Hasbro really wanted to go for it, but they don't. So that's the second to last. And the last one is this one. And I can't even find the bit. I think I've got the bits in a trunk somewhere. Let me go and find it. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for this video, but this is the worst, not just the worst Threepio ever. It's probably one of the worst Star Wars figures ever. It's awful. I bought this with high hopes of it being like this, because I really I fancied having on my shelf a really good Attack of the Clones 3PO, because I do like how he looked in Attack of the Clones. And then I got this. I've got a review of it. I might even leave it in the description. I doubt I was kind about it in that, but it's awful. And when you put his chest plates on, and because he's got what this figure has, except this is much better. If I take off the... Well, how the friggin' hell do I do it? Hang on, bear with me. Yeah, there you go. You can take off his armour, whatever you call it, chest plates and shell, which is very well done, that. I mean, that never happened in the film, except for maybe, well, Empire Strikes Back, but that's a nod, that's clever, that's Hasbro spanning the ages. They're giving you an original trilogy 3PO with a little bit of a view of something you've seen before, ladies and gentlemen, but with this, it just did not work. In fact, let me go and get the armour, bear with me. So this is a trunk that I keep on my Tatooine shelf, not far from the droid sale, ironically. And in here is a load of miscellaneous crap, but it's basically got 3PO's armour. I can't even be bothered putting it on, but trust me, it's awful. I will put an image up just to support my argument there, but it just doesn't even fit on properly. You can't fit it on it. If you put that on, it's sort of like sticking out one way or the other, and it looks like someone wearing a really bad cosplay RoboCop outfit, man. It's terrible. That somewhere between a bad RoboCop cosplay and an American footballer who's got the wrong side armor or whatever. It's just total dog BS crap. Absolute garbage. That is the last place, but sorry about that, fella, but you know, you weren't made very well, were you? But let's, one more time, pray silence and pay homage to the best C-3PO in 3 3/4 inch. It is the Saga Collection, Endor Deity, if you want to call it that. The Tree God Golden C-3PO from, again, Return of the Jedi, man. It's the year to celebrate the good things from that film. But that, if you want to know what the best is, you're looking at it, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. Tap the notification bell. Stick it when you click it, ladies and gentlemen, as WDW Pro says. I love that catchphrase. Anyway, on that bombshell, we are off. Thank you for watching. I have been only One Kenobi. Only one. Out.